Moms for Liberty is a hyper-right-wing organization that rallies against any mention of topics such as LGBTQ plus people and race and ethnicity in schools. They got their footing in 2021 rallying against mask and vaccine mandates under the guise of, protecting the children. Obviously, this group is not about protecting the children, but rather shielding them from differing worldviews that conflict with their parents' extremist and bigoted views. They're just another group of morons that use children as merely a pawn to garner sympathy and to justify their bigotry and say, see, the LGBT community are infiltrating our schools and brainwashing children into believing their twisted agenda, when their twisted agenda is merely just, hey, we exist, there are some men who like other men, there are some women who like other women, there are some people who don't identify as the gender they were assigned at birth, and there's nothing wrong with that, and these people are totally valid. Essentially teaching children the lesson that some people are born different, and that's perfectly fine, so long as it harms no one. How fucking awful. But anyway, with all this talk of being against groomers and protecting the children, you would think that every member of this organization has a squeaky clean reputation when it comes to their interactions with children. Nope. Recently, it was discovered that a coordinator in this group's Pennsylvania division is a convicted sex offender that sexually assaulted a minor. From MSNBC, Moms for Liberty coordinator in Pennsylvania is a convicted child molester. Philip Fisher Jr. is a pastor and Republican ward leader who coordinates faith-based outreach for Philadelphia's Moms for Liberty chapter. He's also a registered sex offender due to a 2012 felony conviction for aggravated sexual abuse of a 14-year-old boy when Fisher was 25. Fisher insists that he did nothing wrong, despite pleading guilty to one of the 12 counts filed against him after an investigation by the Chicago Police Department, according to court records obtained by the Inquirer. So this is a guy who molested a minor, pled guilty, and in spite of that insists today that he did absolutely nothing wrong, and yet now he wants to rally against a group of people whose only sin is having a different sexual preference, or wanting to identify as a gender they were not assigned at birth, and label them groomers. Now, to be fair, if you can take Moms for Liberty at their word, this man was merely a volunteer and not an official chapter chair of the organization. They posted a picture on Twitter showcasing that the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services indicated that this man had no history of child sexual abuse. Going back to the MSNBC article, a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania DHS told the Inquirer that not all criminal convictions involving minors are considered child abuse under state law. The newspaper also noted that Fisher is listed in the state's Megan's Law database of registered sex offenders. So this is probably on the part of Pennsylvania's DHS and not Moms for Liberty, but even still, I want to focus on the sheer hypocrisy for a little bit. Why the fuck should anyone take you seriously as a crusader for the children, protecting them against the evil LGBT community who want to groom them, when you yourself have a history of sexually abusing at least one minor? This is a classic case of projection. You see this all the time on the right, and not even just when it comes to sexual abuse of minors, but also when it comes to people who are vehemently anti-gay publicly, but then it comes out that they themselves are gay. We've seen this with politicians like Larry Craig, a homophobic senator who ended up getting arrested because he was having sex with another man in the men's bathroom at an airport. Or that one politician from Tennessee that I made a video about earlier this year who was publicly homophobic, but then it was found out that he was writing these really creepy, sexually charged comments under a 20-year-old man's Instagram posts, and this politician in question is like 80 fucking years old. Yuck. But anyway, we have so many of these self-loathing pieces of shit who want to make their self-loathing the public's problem and want to ruin the quality of life for so many people in public who have done nothing wrong, but it's all because these people can't come to grips with how much they fucking hate themselves. Like this Philip dude, he did something fucking abominable, and instead of just drifting away into the shadows because no one wants to fucking hear from a child molester when it comes to protecting the youth, he just wants to shift attention away from himself and point the finger at another group of people who have done nothing fucking wrong aside from, again, have a different sexual preference or want to identify as a gender they weren't assigned at birth, and say these are the people who you should really be focusing on, these are the people who are really a danger to children, not me, a convicted sex offender who molested a minor. But now that this is out, who the fuck is going to listen to you because you clearly don't place any value on the safety of minors when you yourself ripped away the innocence of a minor in the most horrific way possible? This is pedocon theory in action, folks, which is the idea that conservatives are merely projecting when they call other people groomers when they themselves are the danger to children. This has happened in so many instances at this point that I don't think this is merely an idea, I think that this is simply a reality. When someone bases their entire public image around persecuting gay people and always making their disdain for them loud and clear, I think it is safe to assume that that person may be in the closet themselves, but struggles with self-hatred. If someone bases their entire public image on calling other people who have done nothing wrong groomers and always harp on about protecting the children from these people, I think it is safe to assume that the person who is making these baseless accusations may have some skeletons in the closet themselves. You should always raise an eyebrow every time you encounter someone like this. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.